welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca. Today I am doing the Reading Habits book tag, and I have my little cheat sheet here, so if you see me looking down, that's probably why, because I'm reading. I can't remember the name of the person who created this tag. If I can, I'll go ahead and link them down below. That way you can check out their original tag as well. So let's get on with it. Okay, so question number 1 is, do you have a specific place in your home for reading? And if I am going to be at home reading, I tend to like sitting at the corner of my couch, just because I feel like I'm still able to hear and see kind of what's going on in the household while I read, and a lot of the times when I do read, I'm with my husband while he's watching TV, so I kind of spend time with him even though I'm kind of doing my own thing. So yeah, that's normally my go-to spot when I'm reading. I don't really like to read in bed just because it's kind of awkward. If I'm laying down, the book's heavy in my arms. Otherwise, if I'm sitting up, then I don't feel like my back's supported very well. So I don't really read a lot in bed. So if I do read, I read on the couch with a physical book. Number 2, do you use bookmarks or random pieces of paper? I use whatever is handy. If I need to stop reading at the moment, I try and use bookmarks, but for the most part, I just grab whatever's near me, whether it's a receipt, a piece of paper, a tissue, not used, or even I've used a sock before to mark my page. So yeah. Number 3, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop at a certain chapter or number of pages? So I don't have I need to read this many pages before I can stop reading, or I need to read to this chapter to be able to stop. But for the most part, if I know I'm going to stop reading, then I'll have to finish the chapter that I'm on, so that way when I pick up the book, I'm at a fresh chapter. But as a mom of 3 kids, there's many times where I have to drop what I'm doing right at that moment. And so there, I've had to stop in the middle of a chapter, in the middle of a page before. But if, like I said, when I typically read, I'll read at night, after the kids have gone to bed. But that way I don't have to keep stopping, because you guys understand how obnoxious it is when you're in a really, really good book and you're in a really good groove of reading and you're having to stop every 5 minutes to take care of some crisis or another for your kids. Okay, so number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? I'll have maybe a cup of coffee or a soda next to me, or some water or something. I don't normally eat while I'm reading, and it's not because I'm afraid I'm gonna get my books dirty. It's more just because it's distracting from the story. If I'm reading and I'm having to reach for popcorn or a snack or whatever, then it distracts me from where I'm at on the page, and that to me is more frustrating. It would be just if my kid were coming up to me and distracting me, or if my husband came up and was trying to talk to me while I'm reading. That eating while reading is frustrating, unless I'm listening to an audiobook, and then I can do a number of multitasking while I'm listening to an audiobook. Number 5, multitasking. Do you have music or TV on while reading? For the most part, I don't have to have anything on in the background while I'm reading. That's not, I don't know, I feel like if it's for me, it's very distracting while I'm trying to read. But there's many a times where my husband will be watching a movie either in the bedroom or in the living room, and I can read completely fine with that on while he's doing that, just because when I do read, I tend to lose track of what's going on in the world around me, and I'm sucked into that universe of whatever book I'm reading. And so yeah, it doesn't matter if there's something going on outside of the reading, because normally I can kind of tune it out while I'm reading, if that makes sense. Okay, number 6. Do you read one book at a time or more than one at a time? Normally I only like to read one book at a time. I'm very OCD when I read, and so I don't like to be trying to follow 2 different storylines at the same time. To me, that is very distracting. So I typically will read, one book from beginning, middle to end before I pick up another book. However, there has been many a times where I'll have a physical book that I'm reading, an audio book that I'm listening to, and maybe a book that I'm reading together with one of my kids. So like I'll have up to like 3 books that I'm reading at one time. But that's usually the rare case that is going on. Number 7, do you read at home or anywhere? If I'm reading a physical book, I like to be at home. I don't like to read a physical book anywhere else, just because how much I get sucked into a book, I lose track of what's going on around me. So say I'm at a doctor's appointment and I'm reading a physical book, I'll not hear my name get called, or whatever I'm waiting for, whatever I'm doing. So I typically will read like that at home, where I know I don't have to worry about anything. I will listen to an audiobook while I'm driving. If I am at a doctor's office, or if I'm waiting to pick my kids up from school, I will listen to an audiobook. That way I'm not so immersed in my senses where, anything that my visual sense, my hearing and everything like that isn't completely impaired by wanting to just focus on the book. I can actually, play a game on my phone or whatever while I'm listening to an audiobook. And so I guess that answers the question, I hope. I don't know. Okay, so number 8. Do you read out loud or silently to yourself? 99% of the time I will read silently to myself. If I'm reading with my child, then I'm reading out loud. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I read out loud, I actually slow down in my reading, because I can read pretty quickly when I'm just reading silently. But if I am reading out loud, then I tend to slow way down. So, let's see here. Number 9. Do you read ahead or skip pages? No, I do not. Unless I am completely bored with the book, and then I end up usually just DNFing it. But because of and I don't really have a huge OCD problem, but I'm the type that I can't just skip a page. Otherwise I feel like I didn't read the book. I have to read every single page to say, yes, I read this book. I don't know. I'm weird. Number 10, do you break the spine of a book or keep it new? I do everything in my power to keep a book new. I do get a lot of books secondhand, and so a lot of the times they will already have a spine that's broken. Paperbacks, I have a harder time keeping brand new, just because the way that I hold them, sometimes I'll be really bad and I'll fold, the page back, and yeah, that's not very nice to my books. But when I'm reading, I don't know, you do what you do to make your hands comfortable while you're holding a book. But yeah, as far as what I try to do is I try and keep my books looking fabulous and amazing, but I don't know. My most beloved books do have a little wear and tear to them. And number 11, do you write in your books? I know a lot of people that do this. I don't normally do it. If I'm reading a nonfiction book, then I highlight the crap out of it, or I'll underline a lot of things in it. My nonfiction books look like rainbows. But for my pleasure reading, my my fiction books. I haven't gotten into tabbing them or marking in them, highlighting in them, and that's just because like I don't want to stop reading to do that. Like, to me, I want to know what's going on, and I just get through the book, and before I know it, the book is over, and I'm like, oh, I was gonna tab this book, but I didn't. Or when I stop to tab something, then I feel like I'm losing the momentum of reading, and then I get distracted and I do other things. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do this or I need to do that. So when I'm reading a good story, like, I very much don't like to mark in them or anything just because of that. But my nonfiction books, I have no problem doing all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is it for the Reading Habits book tag. I hope that I answered the questions appropriately, and I, tried to answer them as honestly as I possibly could. Thanks so much for joining me. If you would like to, you can go ahead and do this tag yourself if you haven't already, and tag me in it, so that way I can watch it too. I'd love to see what other people's answers are for these questions. Yeah, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell icon. That way, anytime I post a video, you will be notified. I do try and post a video every Tuesday and Thursday, and I am trying to remember to be active on my Instagram account on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So that is my new schedule I'm trying to stick with, and that way you guys know when things are coming up and where to find them. If you know anyone that would be interested in watching my videos, please send them my way. I'd be ever so grateful. And as always, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.